okay, so you get pregnant. You also have this accident. Right? Medically, you realize, hey, listen, it's better if I have to get out of this situation.
Yeah, because I initially wanted to do 20 years. Like, I loved the Army. I was so good at my job. But I got to a point where I had to make a decision. And being a parent was more important during that time. So I got out of the military.
What did the father of your child say? Because he was still probably there.
So he was in the military for like 20 years. So he was already done with his time in the military. Okay. I PCS'd, so it's a permanent change of station to Fort Benning, Georgia. So I went from Korea to Georgia. And mind you, during this time, I was 7 months pregnant. So he was like, hey, I'm going to come home in March. I PCS'd in February. Well, March came around. He didn't come. He was handling some other shit in Korea. And so I had to do all that shit on my own. I had to find a house for me and my daughter. I had the baby on my own. Nobody was with me. No, nobody was with me. And he ended up coming home when she was 6 months old.
Wow.
Yeah. So by the time he came home,
are you having a little bit of resentment at that point? Because I imagine postpartum and all these other things. It's just natural things.
It wasn't even so much resentment. It was more so like, I'm so used to doing everything on my own. I've always done everything on my own.
This is just building up someone who is starting to have the mindset, I need to be independent.
Right.
I can't rely on anyone.
I've always been so independent. I think people get that confused about me too, because they look at me and they don't know how I do it all. Sometimes I don't even know how I do it all, but I've always been super independent. So by the time my daughter's 2 years old, like I said, we were married. We got married when my daughter was like 7 months old. I'm out of the military at this point. So when she's 2, I'm out. I'm retired medically. He's working I think he was working at a gym at the time, and I was like, you know what? I'm about to go work at this private airport. So I was working at this like FBO where a lot of like VIP people will fly in. And I was getting real sick of my job.
Why?
I felt so unimportant. Like, I was a customer service representative, but I was like, what am I really doing here? You
felt you had no purpose.
Yeah, I felt so unfulfilled. And I was like, why am I even here? And this is actually kind of comical, but my favorite artist is Pitbull.
Really?
And I say it's comical because when I tell people, that's their reaction. They're like, really? Like, why? I was looking for every reason to get out of that job. And I was like, God, if I'm not supposed to be here, give me a sign. And like 20 minutes later, my older sister called me. She's like, hey, I have an extra ticket to Pitbull tonight if you want to come. I never hopped up so quick. And I left that shit. I was like, I'm leaving.
Were you at work?
I was at work.
You left work
I walked out.
Wow.
No notice, no nothing. Because, Texas, it's an at-will state. So you can get fired same day and you can leave your job same day. You don't have to give nobody no notice. But I left that job. I went to go see Pitbull. I had the time of my life. And my husband told me the next day, he was like, and this is like right before COVID hit. He was like, you should start OnlyFans. And I was like, what is OnlyFans? I had never heard of it.
This is the father of your child?
Yes.
What year is this?
This was 2020. Right around COVID.
He suggests you should OnlyFans. Why? That's an odd suggestion.
So he was more, his approach was, you should start OnlyFans. Again, I had never heard of it. I was really green back then. Like, I was very like housewife, mom, stay at home type of bitch. But he was like, you should just take sexy pictures and I'll take sexy pictures of you. I was like, okay, let's do it. I had never done shit like that before. So, we did that.
Was there any part of you that thought, why would you want me to do this?
Not really. I kind of was like interested in the idea. Because I've always loved.
Did you think about his because us as men, we're so territorial, so protective. Mm-hmm. It's like I feel like a guy would almost probably think 15 times about going to rob a bank or rob someone else rather than tell their girl to go do OnlyFans.
Really?
Well, at least the people I know, it's like, because at that point, and I've had this conversation with certain women who maybe they've had boyfriends that have suggested certain shit, and it's like those men viewed you probably a little bit different than the majority of guys view their woman. They're usually protective of their woman. They don't want people to see their woman. They rather, hey, listen, we'll rather go commit a crime to get what we need to get rather than allow our woman to be, because almost at that point it's almost like that dude's like pimping you out in a sense. You know what I mean?
But weren't you with somebody that did OnlyFans?
No. And
no?
clarify, I was never with Selena. No, I was never with Selena. No, like that's a hard no for me. Actually, I was
really?
with. So
why does everybody think that?
I don't know why everybody keeps saying that means. First of all, I could never be. Just me personally, I couldn't be with. I'll give you the Selena story real quick. So Selena was a friend of mine. This is before OnlyFans. We used to stream together. I still stream now. I streamed last night in 10 hours.
Right.
She used to come to my stream, and the interest was because we wanted to get an audience that was, I have a bunch of males that follow me. We want to kind of mix it up and get a couple females following us. She would come on and give these stories about how she slept with rappers.
Oh, okay.
I was cool with her, like friends. Like, you know, hey, we would FaceTime all the time. She comes on, she gives these stories, everything is cool. This is before OnlyFans. And what happened is that we did end up like having sex, and OnlyFans came out, and you got to realize at that point, and this is why OnlyFans actually it's a good thing if you ask me. There was no monetization strategy for her, so I was making money via the stream she was coming on, but she wasn't making money. I remember vividly, I would be on FaceTime with her. There was like roaches and whatever there, or she's getting arrested. Yeah, she wasn't making money.
Oh shit!
And when OnlyFans happened, she went on there, and you know it worked for her.
Right.
But in branding, she made it look like, hey, I'm in this relationship with this guy, which I thought was like a little bit unfair to me, because I'm like, you slept with like a bunch of rappers. Like, I'm probably the least famous person you slept with. Why not use them as the whatever? But no. Me, I would have never had to do that. And
yeah.
I'm glad it turned out for her the way it did, because I would have blocked her from an opportunity. She didn't know how to monetize this attention that she had. People love hearing these stories about her sleeping with rappers. Didn't know how to monetize it. I didn't really know how to monetize it either. Okay, she comes on my stream. That's not really like.
I feel like that though is such a hard. It's a very like weird place to be in, because you have women that come forward and tell these stories about rappers or whoever, and then you have one group of people that's like so interested in what they're saying, and then you have another group of people that's like, well, what do you want us to do with this information? Why are you telling us their bit? Like, you know.
I think the era of saying that you slept with someone famous is over. At that time, it was still taboo.
So
it was still taboo. Then it was like, oh my God, you're telling us how these guys are. Some of these guys have wives. So I wasn't with Selena. Selena was always my friend. Of course, she, internet wise, and they adopted as, oh, that was my girlfriend. And I ain't gonna lie, I leaned into one of the publicity stunts she wanted to do, acting like I bought her a G-Wagon, which, by the way...
Oh, I thought you did buy that.
No.
See, look, y'all did it well.
And listen, I leaned into it because I was watching on the Shade Room, I'm like, yo, these women are like falling over little baby buying his girl like a Bentley or whatever. And I'm like, so girls like when guys give any girl a gift, because they think if he gave that girl a gift, if I get with him, he'll give me a gift. So I leaned into it, but it wasn't true.
I'm crying.
I did have a girlfriend though, and she did start OnlyFans towards the end of our relationship. And I remember saying to her, like, it was so conflicted, because I was like, I make a lot of money. And for her, she wanted purpose. It was more than money. It was just, she wanted purpose. She wanted to be doing something. And I was just like, do you want to, like, I just didn't get it. So I was just like, what is it? You just want to buy certain things? Like, what is it? And it was so conflicting to me, because me at that point, I felt like it was almost disrespectful to me. That kind of ended up with like how we broke up. I kind of still have the same philosophy, though, I'm gonna be honest with you. And I guess it's if I met you before you did it. Now, if I met you when you're already doing it and I'm telling you to stop, I think that's like, how could you like a girl who's already doing
Well,
it?
you got to give me, if you telling me to stop, what are you going to do to make me stop? That's my outlook. Like, if I'm with somebody and they know
Is it only monetary wise that you do it?
It's mostly monetary wise, yeah. Like I said, if I would have never gotten that airborne accident, I would probably still be in the military. You know how much I was making in the military?
How much?
$35,000 a year.
Wow.
That can't do nothing for nobody.
Well, people at that time you probably thought it was decent.
When
you
I was
live
a
a more
teenager,
expensive life. Yeah,
when I went to basic training and I left with my little $2,000 that I made when I was there, I thought I was so up. I was like, oh my God, I have $2,000. I had never seen money like that before.
Yeah.
And so, I was able to make a good living off of it then, but this lifestyle that I've created for myself now, there's no way that anybody could come to me and say, you got to stop what you're doing unless you're going to like make it make sense.